connect, collaborate, grow. Find your people and let your business flow. Magnify, magnify, get visible, get found, and let's go. Magnify your biz. Let's grow together.
Most business owners are working harder than they should be, not because they're doing the wrong things, but because their systems aren't set up to support them. I'm Kylie.
And I'm Mazzy, and you're listening to Magnify Your Biz podcast, where we talk about systems, marketing, and what's working right now.
And today our topic is getting visible without burning out on content. Mazzy, the big word, content. Tell me, what's your top tip?
My top tip, I've got a few actually, but I'll leave you to give us a few examples. But I think one of the big things is to start with one topic or research a topic that you are an expert in, have an interest in, or have seen people sort of talking about it around socials and LinkedIn and other places and things like that. And then find ways that you can actually come into the conversation from that. And there's a few tools that help you also research some of those questions or things that people are actually asking about online. One of them being Answer the Public, which is a great one. So if you start with a keyword or a subject matter that you are an expert in or wanting to write about or trying to do a social post about, if you just start with answerthepublic.com, type in that keyword, it'll then give you a whole heap of little matrix and webs and stuff like that about what people are actually typing into the socials, not only socials, but into Google and to other search platforms. And obviously now with AEO and everything else, that's actually become even more important. Another cool free one as well is called Answer Socrates, and that one's a free version that actually gives you, I think, up to 3 words per day or 3 topics per day that you can type into the search function, and it'll give you what's trending or what are things that people are asking for that will help you start with some topics and stuff that you can then use as content across your multiple channels.
I'd forgotten about the Socrates one. I'm so glad you reminded me on that. I haven't used that in well over a year, but Answer the Public, how cool is that? I love it.
Very cool. Yeah. And it's just fun because it's quite interactive and it just allows you to kind of see, and like sometimes you might think of a word or a topic and you're sort of stuck on that word. But then once you type it into Answer the Public or Answer Socrates, you see all the different ways it's actually being used or asked about online. So it's just brilliant just to give you some, tips and ideas. And then obviously you just kind of build it out from there.
Totally. I'd like to add another one into your list there because I also find Reddit to be an incredible way to look for what your ideal customer or client is actually searching for. So I never participate in Reddit discussions. I just use it, really for research. Yeah, it's amazing for that. So my suggestion would be then once you've got your topic and you know what you want to be using for your content, I tend to think of it like, what's my topic for this month? And everything I do will be around that topic. But as we know, if you have one topic, there's so many different angles that you can talk about it from. So once you've found the topic that you're going to be the expert on that month, then I would always go first and write the blog post. Because once you build the blog post, that's literally like the foundations for your house. And from there, you can do social media content, email marketing content, podcast content, so many different ways. But getting that blog is, for me, that's the gold, because that's also what's going to help drive that traffic to your website.
Yep, 100% agree. And also, it's just about consistency wins over intensity. So you don't have to be constantly burning out through putting content out online every single day. If you just set yourself a plan, whether it's like once a week and it's consistently that same day every week, whether it's a blog, whether it's a social post, and then just building over that, the consistency wins every time. And I also am a big advocate for scheduling that, but just pre-doing it. So just doing a whole heap at a time. So then when you have those busy days or those busy months and stuff like that, you've got content that you've already pre-done, or you can then repurpose if you've then scheduled it or made it generic enough for people to go back and view it. Most people think as a business owner that you'll post something once and then everybody's seen it or seen what you've done and then that's it. But what you don't realize is that most people don't look at it, or the algorithm hasn't caught you, or they haven't been online. And so you have to kind of approach it through various ways, through the blog, through the social content, through an email newsletter, whatever that is. And so you are still using the same topic or content, but you're showing up in different channels and different ways. So that's probably one of my biggest tips to be able to sort of show up without the burnout.
I totally agree. And I love how you just explained that about not everybody sees what it is that you post. So if you post, let's say you've done your blog, and then you'll do 4 pieces of content on the same exact topic, but just saying them in different ways. One might be a reel, one might be a carousel, one might just be a regular single post, and one might just be a photo of you with a caption that talks about what's in that blog post, for example. And firstly, you're right, not everybody sees every post, but also not everybody resonates with the same stuff. So, what immediately might capture your attention and stop you scrolling and actually read the caption is something totally different than what might grab my attention.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes with the different algorithms, it depends on your audience as well. If you are posting to social media, sometimes if you're on a professional account, it'll tell you in terms of, oh, your static posts resonate far more than your reels and stuff like that. And if you start sort of looking at a bit of that information, you then can just don't have to feel like that you've got to do everything as a reel or spend so much time preparing your content. Obviously what you want to get them to do is then to take action on what you've put out there. So whether it is that you want them to go and read your blog because you've put out some amazing information or business tips or whatever it is that you've done or created, point them towards that page. So one, you're also then getting traffic to your website, and two, they're engaging with your content as well. So those are quick little wins that again builds that consistency over that intensity of being visible.
And Mazzy, what are your favorite AI tools that you're using that help you with your content workflow at the moment?
I do like to use a combination. So I do use a little bit of Claude. I use like brainstorming. I use Perplexity for research, especially if it's something that needs a bit of data or needs some citations and stuff like that. So then use that. And then, yeah, tools like Answer Socrates and using, sorry, SEO tools. So you are preparing the content that is actually going to be interesting enough for somebody to click and read and stop.
I'm using those same ones, except like I mentioned before, not Socrates at the moment because I'd forgotten about it, but the same as you, Claude, particularly my projects, which I just love, and also ChatGPT for a bit of chat back and forth, and Perplexity. I'm a huge fan of Perplexity, but I want to throw a couple more in there because sometimes I still prefer to make my graphics in Canva.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes I just would like to whip something up, and I'm not necessarily going to use it, but I'll use it for some ideas. So I'll probably do that in either ChatGPT or in Gemini just to create some kind of graphic. So I might put the prompt in and say, this is my caption or this is my blog post. What do you have for an idea for me that would be a graphic for this post? But then, if there's something that I really like about it, then I'll jump into Meta AI. You bet you weren't expecting me to say that one. And then I'll say, can you animate it? I'll give you an example. I could not find the right element I needed for this client. They needed a cowboy boot and a cowboy hat. And so I wanted to make a reel where it was a cowboy hat and a cowboy boots, and then in front, champagne glasses that came in chinked. And so anyway, I couldn't do it no matter how hard I tried. I just couldn't get it quite right. So I used Gemini to create that. Then I went and put that image into Meta AI and said, can you now animate it and make it do a little chink? And it did a brilliant job. I'm really enjoying the
Yeah.
videos that Meta is doing at the moment.
I've never used it actually, but I saw some of the ones that you posted on our group chat and I thought that's hilarious. It's just amazing how quickly you can do it. Yeah. One of the other ones is, I always forget about Gemini, but I have used some of the image generators for some blogs and stuff like that I've written. And it's so great because you just prompt it as to exactly what you need. And it just gives you some incredible with like Nana Banana and stuff like that. And I've used File as well. So that's really good to create some videos. Yeah. But like if I'm creating reels and stuff like that, there's a lot of tools out there. It's just getting stuck with one of them and just having to play and then sort of seeing what you like. And yeah, because it's constantly changing. It's fun, like being creative and marketers like we are, like everything shiny is so much fun. So you kind of have to stick to something. So you got to stick to something and and just make it stick. But I try not to subscribe to any more subscriptions or tools because it's a bit out of control.
It
Yeah.
really is out of control, that's for sure. So, what would be one tip that you would leave people with today if you were going to just get them to try one thing to help with creating content that's just not going to overwhelm them or burn them out so that they can sit?
I would say scheduling. So scheduling your content. So using a platform or a program that can schedule all of your blogs, your newsletter, your social post, and then so you can then see them in a nice clean calendar as to map it, see how it's when you're going to be posting. And if you've made the content, I guess, not something that is so like time limiting. And for example, like you've got an offer that is like ending this month or something like that, or has specific dates and times. I would repurpose some of that same content and then reschedule it. So reschedule it every month or every 3 weeks, however long it is. And if you've got like a collection of them, let's say 8 to 10 or more of these, you can just schedule them once every week. So then at least you're still showing up on the platforms once a week, and then you just repurpose them for the year. So then that will just give you some extra content that you don't have to think about, and you just schedule it out to your audience.
I love that so much. The repurposing of evergreen content. Now, for you and I know that's tricky as marketers because everything's changing constantly. But things like the idea of choosing one blog topic a month, then that in itself is something that you over and over and over. Like you and I know that probably 3 out of every 4 blog topics we choose will be changed in a month, 6 months, a year. But there's certain things that will be evergreen. So we've just got to come up with some from time to time that we can do on repeat and just make sure we're jumping in there, refreshing the content from time to time. But it's so good to take a step back and go, oh, I've got something coming up in 3 months and in 6 months that's already done. How relaxing is that?
Yep. No, and that's it, right? At the end of the day, it's about staying visible without having to feel overwhelmed each time you've got to create something, or having that writer's block when you think, oh my God, what am I going to post this week or this month? Because I have no idea. And so your idea and your advice about starting with a blog, that's your anchor piece. And then from that, you then just generate various pieces of content through your newsletter, through your socials, and then you can even split up that blog as well and then write like spin-off blogs from that one anchor piece that you've written, so that one topic can have quite a longevity of time that you can actually then use that. Then that also ultimately helps with some SEO stuff as well.
Speaking of SEO, we'll be talking about that in coming episodes because there's so much that needs to be covered. SEO, AEO, GEO, what even is that? People are wondering. So I look forward to chatting with you in our upcoming episode. That's a wrap on today's episode. And if you got something useful out of this, share it with another business owner who needs to hear it, because that's how you grow your community and get visible.
So find us at magnifyyourbiz.com. If you're not listed in there yet, get into the Magnify Your Biz directory and start showing up where your clients are searching. Until then, we'll see you, and keep showing up and keep growing.
We're here every week with something real. Business owners who know how it feels to want to be found, to want to connect, to build something good with people you respect. Connect, collaborate, grow, find your people and let your business flow. Magnify, magnify. visible, get found, and let's go. Magnify your biz. Let's grow together.